My parents missed my honor ceremony and merged my 18th birthday into my brother's dinner because he had tantrums. So I moved out quietly and watched from a distance as their perfect family routine fell apart without the one person holding it together. Hey, Reddit, my honor ceremony got ignored, my birthday got hijacked, and my brother got everything he wanted. So I packed up, left without a word, and watched their little perfect world fantasy crash hard without me keeping it alive. I'm Michelle, 18, just graduated high school. People who know us think my family is fine. Maybe a little busy, but normal. If you lived in my house for even a week, you'd see it's basically the Max show 24/7. Max is my younger brother, 16, and somehow every single decision in the house bends around him. I don't say that as a jealous older sister thing. It's just the way it's always been. Like last winter, Max forgot to study for a math quiz and bombed it. Next thing you know, Mom was emailing the teacher about his stress levels and baking cookies to thank her for understanding. The same week, I made honor roll for the third semester in a row. Mom posted on Facebook about how proud she was that Max had bounced back. My name even came up. I don't think she realized she left me out until my grandma commented, and Michelle too, right? So yeah, that's kind of the background. The night everything shifted, I had this small academic awards ceremony. Nothing huge, but it mattered to me. It was for good grades and volunteer hours. A local scholarship, 50 people in the gym, folding chairs, squeaky microphone, bad lighting. You get the idea. We all went. Mom, Dad, Max, and me. I wore a button-up I didn't want to wear because Mom said, "We need a nice picture." Max complained the whole drive about having to come at all. Things were fine until right before it started. Max asked Dad if he could have the car after the ceremony to go to some late-night hangout. Dad told him no, since he didn't even have his full license yet. That was it. Max crossed his arms and muttered, "You always take her side," meaning me, even though I hadn't said a word. Dad told him to knock it off. Max didn't. He got louder. People in the lobby turned their heads. Then Mom tried to calm him down like always, using the soft voice that usually means, "We'll give you what you want if you just stop yelling." It didn't work this time. Max's voice shot up a notch, echoing off the gym lobby walls. "You never let me do anything. She gets everything." He pointed straight at me, like I was the reason Dad wouldn't hand over the car keys. People in line turned to look. A couple near the doors stepped back like they didn't want to get in the middle of it. Dad's jaw tightened. "Not here, Max. We'll talk about it later." "No, you always say later. You never listen." Then he kicked the leg of one of the folding chairs near the door. It clattered on the tile floor loud enough to make the whole line of parents and kids go quiet. Someone whispered, "Yikes!" Mom grabbed his arm, trying to pull him to the side, but he jerked away, knocking her purse off her shoulder. Everything inside, keys, phone, receipts, spilled across the floor. She dropped to her knees to gather it all while Max kept going, hands flying everywhere, accusing everybody of favoritism, like he wasn't the one throwing a scene in front of half the school. Dad finally snapped, "That's it, outside, now." Max shouted something about how this family was a joke, then shoved through the doors so hard they slammed into the brick wall outside. Mom scrambled after him, still shoving stuff back into her bag. Dad followed, muttering apologies to the people staring. And just like that, I was standing alone in the gym doorway while the principal tapped the microphone and told everyone to take their seats. 10 minutes later, they called my name. I walked across the stage, shook hands, took the crooked photo some volunteer snapped. My family missed the whole thing. When they finally came back, Max was sulking like he was the victim. Mom gave me a quick smile and said, "We're proud of you, honey," like she was reading off a script. On the way out, my guidance counselor, Miss Patel, stopped me. She's one of the few adults at school who actually notices things, always smells like peppermint tea. She saw the beat-up guitar case I carry around everywhere and asked, "You play?" "Trying to," I said. She handed me a flyer for the community center. "We do open mic nights twice a month. You should come by. Also, if you need help with the student aid or anything college-related, let me know. I've got office hours after school." I thanked her, stuck the flyer in the guitar case pocket. At home, Mom started talking about my birthday next weekend. Instead of asking what I wanted to do, she said, "We should combine it with Max's recovery dinner after his soccer tournament. 2 birds, 1 stone." I just nodded. Keep it low-key, okay? She added. We don't want to set Max off again. My 18th birthday. Keep it low-key. The next day, I bought myself a $10 vanilla cake from the grocery store. Put it behind some leftovers in the fridge so Max wouldn't find it. Didn't matter. That evening, I came home from work and found Max and two of his friends eating it straight out of the box with forks. Mom said it was fine, Max said with his mouth full. I didn't even argue. Just went upstairs and opened the Notes app on my phone. I started a list, not a diary, just bullet points. Parents missed awards night because of Max's tantrum. Birthday merged into Max's dinner. Cake gone before I got a slice. I wasn't angry exactly, more like tired. It's not like this was the first time. Max had a science project meltdown once, and Mom canceled my weekend plans so we could all help him. Dad skipped my band performance because Max had a headache. Things like that pile up when nobody notices. Staring at the list, I realized I didn't even know what I wanted. A party, a thank you, just someone to actually show up. I shut off my phone and stared at the ceiling for a while. Didn't feel like a big moment at the time, but looking back, that was the night I started counting things. A couple days after the awards night mess, I came home from school and Mom was standing in the kitchen with my debit card in her hand. We used your card for groceries, she said, like it was no big deal. It's the same teen account they set up for me when I was 14. Technically theirs, too. But all the money in it was mine from my part-time job at the hardware store. I checked the balance on my phone. $40 gone. Why didn't you use yours? I asked. Your dad's paycheck doesn't clear until Friday, she said. Like that explained it. I didn't argue, but that night I Googled how to take my name off the joint account. Turns out I couldn't. But since I'm 18 now, I could open my own. So the next day after school, I walked into the bank. The lady at the counter explained I could set up a solo account and even get a small secured credit card if I wanted to start building credit. Secured? I asked. You put down your own money as collateral, she said. Use it like a regular card. Pays off each month. Builds your score. I had $300 saved. So I did it. Walked out with my own account and a $200 limit card coming in the mail. Felt weirdly grown up carrying paperwork with just my name on it. When I got home, Mom barely looked up from chopping vegetables. You went to the bank? Yeah, my account now. Just me. She just said, okay. Like it didn't matter. It mattered to me, though. Next week, Miss Patel found me at lunch. You turned in your FAFSA, right? She asked. Yeah, why? Because your mom didn't sign the parent section. Deadline's tomorrow. I stared at her. Mom swore she'd done it weeks ago. Miss Patel pulled out her laptop right there in the cafeteria, walked me through sending a reminder email. 10 minutes later, Mom texted back a thumbs up. Done now, she wrote, like she hadn't nearly cost me a chance at financial aid. Before she left, Miss Patel tapped the flyer sticking out of my binder. Open mics this Friday. You should come. I told her I'd think about it, but honestly, my head was full of other stuff. That same night, I came upstairs after grabbing a sandwich and found Max sitting on my bed holding my phone. What are you doing? I asked. He didn't even look guilty. Just checking if you had that game download. You went through my phone, he shrugged. You have nothing to hide, right? When I told Mom and Dad, Dad said he was just curious. Michelle, don't make it a big deal. So apparently my privacy was optional now. That was the night I started locking my door whenever I left. 2 days later, I picked up my guitar from the corner and noticed a thin crack along the side near the bridge. Not huge, but new. Did you touch my guitar? I asked Max when he got home. Oh yeah, he said casually. We used it for a TikTok. Don't freak out. He said it like I was being unreasonable for caring that the only thing I actually saved up for was now damaged because he wanted a video with fake rock star vibes. Mom told me it was just a scratch. I Googled guitar repair that night and found a tiny music shop 2 blocks over. The next afternoon, I carried it there after work. The guy behind the counter was maybe mid-30s, long hair and a ponytail, sanding something when I walked in. Can I help you? He asked, setting the sander down. I showed him the crack. He ran a thumb over it and nodded slowly. Not terrible. We can stabilize it so it doesn't spread. $100 if we do the full job, or... He looked at me. I could show you how to seal it yourself if you want to learn. Seriously? Yeah. Won't be perfect, but it'll hold. You play?" "Trying to," I said again. He grinned. "Tell you what, help me restring a couple rentals this weekend. I'll knock off some of the cost." So Saturday, I spent 2 hours learning how to sand and glue the seam so it wouldn't grow. He paid me in store credit and let me restring 2 battered acoustics. Not glamorous, but I didn't care. At home, nobody even asked where I'd been. Mom wanted me to run to the store for Max because he needed some energy drink before practice. I told her I was busy. "You used to help out more," she said, frowning like I was being selfish. Maybe I was. Or maybe I was just done carrying the invisible stuff no one noticed until it wasn't done. I didn't say that out loud. I just went upstairs, locked my door, and started looking at the open mic flyer again. 2 weeks later, I was done waiting for things at home to magically get better. Mom kept acting like nothing happened. Dad avoided me unless it was to tell me to be mature. Max was still slamming doors when he didn't get his way. So, when I saw a flyer at work that said, "Room available, near bus line, shared kitchen, $400 per month," I took a picture. I texted the number, and by that evening, I was standing in a 3-bedroom rental house on Pine Street, meeting the people who already lived there. Amaya, nursing student, 3rd year. She had scrubs hanging on the back of a chair and a pile of medical textbooks on the coffee table. Luis, electrician apprentice, looked like he could rewire the house with his eyes closed. And Noah, a barista finishing community college. Quiet, wore headphones most of the time. Had a coffee grinder on the counter like it was a sacred object. They walked me through the place. Small living room with mismatched couches. Tiny kitchen with one of those sticky whiteboards on the fridge for groceries. Each person had their own shelf in the pantry labeled with masking tape. "We use a chores app," Amaya explained, pointing at the fridge calendar. "Keeps it fair. Dishes, trash, bathroom cleaning. Everyone takes turns." It was the most organized thing I'd ever seen. Rent-covered Wi-Fi and utilities. They asked for first month's rent plus a small deposit. I told them I could move in 2 weeks. Walking back to my car, I felt this weird mix of relief and nervous energy. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine if I wanted it. At home that night, I started moving small things into a couple boxes. Books, my thrift store lamp, the blanket my grandma gave me. Nothing too obvious yet. Max barged into my room halfway through. "What's this?" he demanded, pointing at the boxes like I was smuggling contraband. "Just organizing," I said, keeping my voice even. He squinted at me, then yelled downstairs, "Mom, Michelle's packing her stuff." Mom came running up like there was a fire. "Why are you packing?" "I'm moving out," I said plainly. Max smirked, already loud again. "Told you she was leaving. She's so dramatic." "It's not dramatic," I said. "I found a room. I can pay for it. It's closer to work." Max threw his hands up. "Wow. So now we all look like the bad guys." He said it like I was accusing them of something instead of just leaving. Mom started asking a million questions at once. Rent, safety, food. While Max kept interrupting, saying things like, "She won't last a week," and "Bet she comes crawling back." Dad finally shouted from downstairs for everyone to shut the door. The whole thing felt like standing in the middle of traffic. 2 nights later, I showed up at the Pine Street house with another box of clothes and books. It was almost 9. I'd just come from work and I was dead tired. When I opened the door, the smell of frosting hit first. Then they yelled, "Surprise!" "About time," Luis called from the kitchen. "We saved you some cake." Well, most of it. On the counter sat this lopsided grocery store cake with "Happy Late Day Michelle" written in uneven blue icing letters, smashed together, because whoever did it clearly ran out of space. Amaya handed me a paper plate. We didn't have candles, so we improvised. She stuck a single tea light from the living room shelf into the cake and lit it with a grill lighter. Noah rolled in a small amp he'd found at a thrift store for $10. "It might work," he said, "or it might explode when you plug it in. Add some suspense." They sang "Happy Birthday" off-key, laughing halfway through because Luis forgot the words. It wasn't a big thing. No decorations, no big speeches, just 3 people I barely knew eating store cake on chipped plates while I tried out the amp with my old guitar. My hands shook so bad I botched the first song completely. Missed chords, squeaky strings, all of it. They still clapped like it was good. That night, I crashed on my mattress on the floor and for the first time in months actually slept the whole way through. Back at my parents' place, things were tense. Max started complaining about literally everything. The Wi-Fi was slow. Nobody bought his favorite cereal. Mom asked me to pick him up from practice one night, and when I said I couldn't because I had work, Max acted like I just kicked his dog. He threw his cleats in the hallway, stormed into the kitchen, and started slamming cabinets so hard one of the hinges snapped. "Why is everything my problem?" he yelled, while Mom scrambled to calm him down, picking up a box of cereal he'd knocked over. I just grabbed my jacket and left. Over the next week, I moved boxes bit by bit. My clothes, my guitar, my school folders. Every time Max noticed, he tried to start something. "What? Leaving already? You think you're better than us? Don't expect to come crawling back when you realize you can't do laundry." One night, he stood in the doorway yelling about how I was abandoning the family. While Mom tried to make him stop shouting, Dad told everyone to shut up, and the dog barked nonstop. I carried my desk lamp right past all of it without saying a word. By the end of the week, almost everything I owned was at the Pine Street house. I wrote a note for my parents, not angry, just clear. It said I was moving out Saturday morning. The internet account was in my name, so it would end Sunday night, and they'd need to transfer it if they wanted to keep it. I left it on my desk where they couldn't miss it. On Saturday, I woke up before the sun even came up. The house was dead quiet, just the fridge humming downstairs. Max was still asleep, probably snoring like he always did after late-night gaming. I'd packed everything the night before, clothes in duffel bags, guitar in its case, thrift lamp wrapped in a towel so it wouldn't break. My room looked empty, except for the mattress I was leaving behind. I unplugged my Wi-Fi modem router and canceled the service. The account was in my name, so the internet would stop on Sunday night. Downstairs by the door, we kept a little ceramic bowl for spare keys. I took mine off the ring, set it there, and grabbed my backpack. The letter I wrote last night sat on my desk upstairs. It explained everything. Where I was, why I left, how they'd need to set up the internet in their own name before Sunday night. No yelling, no slammed doors, just leaving. I carried the last box out to my car, packed it in next to the others, and drove away while the sky was still gray. The Pine Street house was half awake when I got there. Noah was already grinding coffee beans. Luis was heading out the door for work. Amaya waved from the couch where she was reading a textbook thicker than a brick. "Big day," she said, nodding at the boxes in my arms. "Yeah," I said, moving in for real this time. My room was small, just enough space for the twin mattress, a folding table, and a thrifted chair I'd picked up for $5. I set up my lamp, stacked my books in a milk crate I'd found behind the hardware store, leaned my guitar in the corner. It didn't look like much, but it was mine. Around lunch, my phone started buzzing nonstop. First, Mom, "Where are you?" Then, Dad, "Michelle, call us now." Finally, Max, "Dude, Mom's freaking out." LOL, "What did you do?" I texted back, "Read the note on my desk." Then I put my phone on silent and went to help Noah carry in groceries. 2 hours later, my grandparents called. "We saw your note," Grandma said. Her voice was calm, not angry. "Do you need anything else?" "Money, furniture." "I'm okay," I said. "You already helped with the deposit." Grandpa cut in. "We're proud of you, Michelle." "Really?" Hearing that out loud felt strange, like I didn't realize how much I needed someone to actually say it. That night was open mic at the community center. I wasn't even sure I was going to play. I showed up with my guitar anyway. The place was small, folding chairs, a little platform stage with Christmas lights stapled along the edge, a couple people holding styrofoam cups of coffee. I signed my name on the list, but almost crossed it out twice before they called me up. I played one song, hands shaking, voice not great, but I made it through. When I looked up, I saw Ms. Patel standing in the back by the door. She waved once, smiled, and left after I finished. Didn't even come over to talk, but she showed up. And that tiny thing landed harder than anything my parents had said in months. Afterward, I sat in the car with my guitar in the passenger seat, staring at my phone. I typed out an email to my boss. "Hey, I can take more shifts now if you need extra coverage. Weeknights, weekends, whatever works." 10 minutes later, she replied, "Sure, we can put you on closing shifts. Also, if you keep showing up like this, we might have a shift lead spot soon. Pay bumps small, but it's something." I sat there grinning like an idiot. Back at the Pine Street house, Noah was making spaghetti for everyone. Amaya was quizzing herself on medical terms at the table. Luis was trying to fix a wobbly kitchen chair with a screwdriver. I dropped my guitar in my room and came back out to eat. Nobody asked for details about my family. Nobody asked why I left. They just passed me a bowl of pasta and told me the hot water knob in the shower stuck sometimes, so don't twist it too far or it leaks. It was the calmest night I'd had in years. The next morning, my phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't Mom or Dad. It was Max. Mom says the internet's out. What did you do? I put my phone on the table, poured myself some coffee, and let Noah tell me about a car that had backfired so loud outside the cafe yesterday that 3 customers spilled their drinks at once. For once, somebody else's chaos was way funnier than mine. By Sunday night, the Wi-Fi at my parents' place was officially off. I knew because Max blew up my phone with texts. Internet's dead. What did you do? Mom says, fix it. Dad's losing it. I didn't reply. Apparently, Dad tried to call the provider, but didn't have the account number because it was all under my name. By the time they got it switched over on Monday afternoon, Max had gone nearly 24 hours without streaming, gaming, or scrolling TikTok. Grandma later told me he had a full-on tantrum in the living room, slamming doors, yelling about how Michelle ruined everything. Mom crying because she didn't know the passwords to anything. Meanwhile, I was sitting on the Pine Street porch, drinking cheap instant coffee out of a chipped mug, while Noah told a story about a customer at the cafe who asked if almond milk came from tiny cow nuts. For the first time in years, none of it involved me. At home, the basics I used to cover fell apart. 3 milks, no bread, snack budget blown, nothing for dinner. Dad snapped. Max snapped back. Mom refereed. It sounded like pure chaos, and I wasn't there to hear it in person. At the Pine Street house, things felt like the opposite of chaos. Luis showed me how to fix the dripping kitchen faucet one afternoon. We turned off the water, swapped out a washer, tightened everything back. Took maybe 20 minutes. Now you know, he said, tossing me the wrench. I didn't realize how satisfying it would feel to fix something that stayed fixed. I kept busy with my own stuff. Amaya proofread my scholarship essays at the dining table one night, while Noah practiced latte art with a $5 thrift store milk frother. You're underselling yourself, Amaya said, scribbling notes in the margin. Talk more about the volunteer hours. By Thursday, I'd submitted 3 applications. I didn't even tell my parents. Saturday morning, the luthier at the music shop handed me a small envelope after I restrung 2 rental guitars. $30, Ellen, he said. I can give you a couple hours every weekend if you want. It wasn't much, but it was the first money I'd earned that didn't immediately get swallowed by the household drama back home. I put it straight into my new bank account. The big thing happened later that night. I was eating leftover spaghetti with Noah when my phone buzzed. It was Grandma. Your dad slipped on the porch steps, she said. Broke his wrist. I sat there blinking. What? He was taking out the trash. Your mom forgot it was pickup day again. He tried to rush it out when he heard the truck coming. Missed a step. Fell hard. He was fine overall, just a cast and some bruises, but apparently the argument afterwards shook the whole house. Mom blamed herself for forgetting. Dad blamed Max for leaving the cans half full of rainwater so they were heavier. Max yelled that none of this would have happened if I was still there doing everything like before. Grandma said it was the worst fight she'd seen in years, and I wasn't even there. I still got texts from Max sometimes. Dad says you don't care he's hurt. Mom cried again today. Everything's falling apart here. I didn't know what to say. I wasn't happy Dad got hurt, but I also wasn't going to rush back and pretend like it was my job to hold everything together. Sunday night, I sat on the porch steps at Pine Street while music from Noah's speaker drifted through the open window. The house back on Maple Street was apparently in chaos, but for once, none of it was on me. Mom texted me on a Wednesday afternoon. Can we meet somewhere to talk? Neutral place? Diner, maybe? I almost said no, but curiosity won. We met that evening at Miller's Diner, the one near the bus station with the sticky booths and the smell of burnt coffee that never goes away. She was already there when I walked in, sitting at a corner table with 2 waters and a plate of untouched fries between them. Michelle, she said like it was a question. Mom. I sat down. For a second, neither of us spoke, just the clatter of dishes and some guy laughing 2 booths over. She started. We thought you were fine because you were quiet. You didn't complain. We didn't realize you were this unhappy. I nodded slowly. Yeah, that's the problem. Her eyebrows pulled together. What do you mean? I leaned forward. The awards night. You left because Max threw a tantrum. My birthday got turned into his dinner. You took my debit card without asking. He cracked my guitar. He went through my phone. I got told to be mature every single time, like I didn't matter as long as Max stayed calm. She flinched, like I'd thrown something. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that, I cut in. You didn't even sign the FAFSA until my counselor chased you. If Ms. Patel hadn't helped, I might have missed the deadline, and you barely reacted when I moved out. Just panicked about the internet. Mom set her water down too hard. You think we don't care about you? That's not fair, Michelle. We've supported you. You didn't show up, I snapped. You didn't come back in for the award. You didn't reschedule my birthday. You didn't say anything when Max ate the cake I bought myself. You let him go through my stuff and told me not to overreact. So, yeah, maybe you care in your head, but it never showed. She shook her head. We were trying to keep the peace. Max has issues controlling things. You didn't want constant fighting, so you sacrificed me instead, I said flatly. That one landed. Her mouth opened, closed, then opened again. We never meant to hurt you. Intent doesn't erase what happened, I said. For a minute, we just stared at each other while the waitress topped off our waters like we weren't in the middle of tearing down 15 years of family patterns in a booth sticky with syrup. Finally, Mom said, "We want you to come home." I almost laughed. "No, you can visit my place if you want, but I'm not moving back." Her face fell. "We just thought this was temporary." "It's not," I said. "I'm doing better now. You can come and see it yourself, but I'm not going back to how it was." She pushed the fries toward me like a peace offering. I didn't take them. When we left, she hugged me in the parking lot. It felt awkward, like hugging someone after a fight where nothing's fixed yet. An hour later, Dad called. "I heard you talk to your mother," he said. "Yeah." Long pause. "Then we should have celebrated your birthday. We should have stayed for your award. The be the mature one thing, maybe we leaned on that too much." It sounded like the words scraped coming out, like he hadn't practiced apologies much. "Yeah," I said again. Another pause. "We're sorry, daughter." That one surprised me. "Okay," I said quietly. A year rolled by in inches. Work shifts piled up. Rent cleared on time. The house on Pine Street settled into a rhythm. I visited my parents now and then, and they visited me. Nothing dramatic, just steadier, like everyone was learning the basics way late. Max didn't call. Not that I expected him to, but Grandma told me Dad made him do his own laundry now because he kept leaving piles in the hallway. Mom told him to start calling his own soccer coach instead of having her write excuse notes. Apparently, he hated it. Meanwhile, things on my side kept moving. Earlier that spring, Miss Patel emailed, "FAFSA processed. You're good to go." At the bottom, she added, "Open mic organizer wants to give you a 10-minute slot next month. If you want it, let me know." I stared at the screen for a long time before replying, "Yeah, I want it." That weekend, Mom and Dad showed up at Pine Street with a box of groceries. Bread, eggs, cereal, even a jar of the peanut butter I like. Mom set it on the counter. "For you," she said. "Thanks," I said, keeping my voice even. Dad looked around the small kitchen, the thrift store rug in the living room, the stack of plates drying in the rack. "Place looks good," he said finally. "Yeah," I said, "it is." And as summer tipped into fall again, things were getting better. I was working almost full-time at the hardware store now. The manager handed me a navy blue polo one Friday and said, "Congrats, shift lead." Pay wasn't amazing, but it came with keys to the place and a raise big enough that I didn't have to count every single dollar anymore. At Pine Street, life settled into a routine. Amaya's clinical rotations got longer. Luis came home one night grinning because he passed some big electrician exam. Noah practiced latte art on Saturdays and covered the kitchen and counter in tiny cups of failed hearts and leaves. Me? I signed up for another open mic slot. I'd already done one 10-minute set in spring. This one felt bigger. On the morning of my 19th birthday, I woke up to noise in the kitchen. "Sit down," Amaya ordered when I wandered out. On the table was a stack of pancakes shaped like something, probably supposed to be 19. Maybe it was 13. Hard to tell. There was a candle stuck in the top one. Anyway, Noah handed me a card with a terrible drawing of a guitar on the front. Luis dropped a small toolkit on the table. "For the wobbly chair in your room," he said. We ate pancakes off paper plates, and for the first time, my birthday didn't feel like something I had to fight for. The open mic that night was packed. More people than last time, probably 20 or 30 in folding chairs, string lights across the ceiling, a couple kids with violins, someone doing poetry before me. When my name got called, I walked up with the guitar hanging off my shoulder and played 2 songs. The first one was rough, nerves making my fingers stiff. But the second one, that one landed. People clapped for real this time. From the corner of my eye, I saw them, Mom and Dad, slipping in late, sitting near the back. No Max. When I stepped off the stage, they handed me a small box. Inside was a voucher for a full professional setup at the same luthier shop where I'd fixed the crack months ago. "We're trying to do better," Mom said quietly. "Thanks," I said, and meant it. The next day, I was grabbing the last of my stuff from my parents' garage. A few books, some old posters, a couple boxes I'd left in their garage all year, when Max came out. Same entitled smirk, same swagger like the world still owed him something. "So," he said, arms crossed. "You done playing house with your little roommates?" I tossed a box in the trunk. "You done crying because the Wi-Fi bill isn't in my name anymore?" His smirk slipped for half a second. "Funny. You think you're better than us now?" I shut the trunk and leaned on it casually. "Yes, Max. I've always been better. You just finally noticed." His face went red. "You left everyone hanging. Dad got hurt. Mom's stressed. Everything's a mess." "Yeah," I said, cutting him off, "because apparently the whole house collapses if I'm not there to do the dishes and pay for the internet. Wild concept, huh? People having to handle their own lives." He opened his mouth, but I kept going, calm and steady. "Here's the thing, Max. You're 17. At some point, you either learn to stand on your own, or you keep blaming everyone else when you fall on your face. Your choice, but I'm done carrying you." He glared like he wanted to come back with something, but nothing came out. Just stood there while I slid into my car. "Enjoy buying your own energy drinks," I said, starting the engine. "Oh, and tell Mom I changed the Netflix password." Then I drove off while he shouted something about being selfish that I didn't bother hearing. That night, I stopped at the late-night grocery on the way home, picked up pasta, sauce, and a bag of frozen vegetables. Cheap, but decent. At Pine Street, the others were watching some cooking show on the tiny TV balanced on a crate. I hung the voucher from my parents on a pushpin above my desk, sent Miss Patel a thank you email, texted Grandma a picture of the lopsided pancake stack from the morning. Then I sat on my floor with my back against the bed, guitar in my lap. The repaired crack line was still visible if you looked closely, but it held. I played for a while. Not great, not perfect, but stable enough. That was the first birthday in my life that felt like it was actually mine.